Good morning, students. Welcome to our session 8, Management Principles. But before, let me remind you what we have passed so far in our previous session, session 7, Management Function. We have seen the functions of management. We have seen the importance of every function in pharmaceutical settings. And we have seen the management function as set of functions performed by managers at various levels, pharmaceutical inclusive. We have seen the three key management functions, which can be identified as informational, decisional, and interpersonal function. So welcome to our session 8, Principle of Management. By the end of this session, I'm expecting you to be able to define the management principles. I'm expecting you to be able to enumerate 14 principles by Henry Fayol. And you should be able to describe the relationship between 14 principles by Henry Fayol in pharmaceutical services. And you should be able to list the advantages of management principle to our current work. Let's see the definition of management principle. Management principle are those philosophies or ideologies which were laid down by management founders like Henry Fayol, which to date are still very useful to all management perspectives, pharmaceutical services inclusive. We say the management principles are those philosophies or ideologies in which great men who were there in previous laid down these principles, and they are still very useful today to all management perspectives as well as in pharmaceutical service inclusive. And some of these philosophies or ideologies, example is Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol postulated 14 management principles, and now we see the 14 management principles by Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol postulated division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unit of command, unit of direction, subordination of individual interest, remuneration and degree of centralization, scala chain, order, equity, stability of tenure of personnel, initiative, and esprit de corps. Let's see this relationship between management principle and pharmaceutical services. Division of work. To date in pharmaceutical service, work is divided to different actors, either in line with the specialties or to share workload to increase productivity. It's depend as we discussed earlier. When you employ you deploy a staff, it depends on what actually you want a staff to. There are tasks to accomplish. Maybe to increase the manpower to solve the problem, or to increase the productivity, or a new skills personnel is needed for a new task. And this make a division of work. That's why you say to that in pharmaceutical services, work is divided to different actors, either in the line with specialties or to share workload to increase productivity. Let's see authority and responsibility. Also at pharmaceutical unit, staff are appointed and charged with authority and responsibility to perform. The two should commensurate to enable an actor to perform. This is very true. That's what you can see even in a pharma setting. We have a superintendent. Are we getting? And after superintendent, we have a pharmacy technician. After pharmacy technician, we have a dispenser. All this rank, they are not just there. When we have authority and responsibility at pharmaceutical unit staff, we say it are appointed and charged with authority and responsibilities to perform. In every level, there are responsibilities to perform. Let's see discipline. This principle refers to an obedience of subordinates, which smoothen working environment. The principle is as well applied to pharmaceutical staff. Discipline is important everywhere. What to say this principle refers on evidence of subordinate, which smoothen working environment. Discipline always smoothen the working environment. Last unit of command. At a pharmaceutical unit, each staff is supposed to receive order from one unit boss similar to other organization. You know what? You must know where do you receive orders to. Not everyone will come to famous will tell you do this and later come someone else say I do this, where am I receiving orders to from? I think this unit of command we don't have problem here. Let's go to unit of direction. A unit is one objective regardless of different activities or function. However, all will be focusing on one meeting unit objectives, which finally addressed common organization objectives. This applies to pharmaceutical unit, but the unit of direction, in all activities that are done into an organization, they are directive or directing to a certain common goals of the organization. So one objective regardless of different activities or function. However, all will be focusing on one meeting unit objective. You have an objective to fulfill and whatever, no matter how you divide the work, but you're going to meet at the same point because this is our focus. You do this, I do that, and the other is doing that, but we meet into the same objectives. Our objective is to fulfill a common goal, which is where our direction goes. Subordination of individual interest. Staff at pharmaceutical unit, similar to other organization staff, their personal interests should be subordinate to organizational interest. At about some time when a subordination of individual interest, the interest, when you get the subordinates to have an organizational interest, we expect an increase of productivity, or we expect the perfection of working. So let's see the remuneration. Remuneration, motivation is very fundamental to all staff at workplace, pharmaceutical staff inclusive. So remuneration, when someone do good, the leader or a manager should identify and recognize. When you give recognition and motivation, and this is what we call remuneration, and this is very fundamental to all staff at workplace and pharmaceutical staff inclusive. Let's see the degree of centralization. Degree of centralization, that refers to decision-making sharing following from two to lower level. Top level, the executives make decisions, the lower level implement. Delegation of that power to lower level is decentralization. It is applicable to pharmaceutical services as well. Here we should open up. There are things to delegate and things not to delegate. I'll get it. What we say the degree of decentralization, to some settings there is total decentralization or centralization. When it's centralization, it's only the executive decide, then they give orders down too. There is no sharing of the staff ideas and whatsoever. Whatever they plan and the order come down that you have to do. It's quite different from this decentralization or saying the ground decentralization. Some things the subordinates can take, can share and give their views and make things go. But to some things that cannot be happen. Are you getting? That's why we have this degree of centralization. So you should get the point here, the concept of centralization and decentralization. As we say, the degree of centralization. When it's total centralization or decentralization. Let's see the scala chain. Scala chain is the flow of power from top to down, forming a structure. The head of institution is one, while followers are many. This applies two in pharmaceutical services. And then we got the picture on these two. Let's go to order. Staff at working environment should have access to resources to work well. In organization, pharmaceutical staff, the same. Staff at working environment should have access to resources to work well in organization. And in this case, pharmaceutical staff also apply the same. Equity. Equal and fair treatment should be practiced to all staff in organization. Pharmaceutical staff, same, to give them room to perform. Lastly, stability of tenure of personnel. This function refers to deploy and managing human personnel. At pharmaceutical staff are hired and managed similar to other staff. Let's go to initiative. The function encourages involvement and creativity to add value for the company. Even at pharmaceutical service, new ideas are encouraged. Let's see Spirit de Corps. Spirit de Corps, the function encourages mutual trust and cooperating among actors. In other words, teamwork. At pharmaceutical unit, cooperation as well is vital for productivity. So what we say is Spirit de Corps, the spirit of work is to perform a teamwork. Again, all cooperating among actors. The cooperation among actors. Let's see the advantage of management principle in favor of pharmaceutical services. So, all 14 management principles are useful to all management of pharmaceutical services. The principle guide leaders of pharmaceutical plant services, remunerate staff, making decisions, divide work among pharmaceutical staff, treating staff equally, etc., etc. So, the principle assists in maintaining discipline and level of actors at pharmaceutical services. I think we have seen the general concept of this and the 14 file management principles and the importance of pharmaceutical setup and how do they work to pharmaceutical setup. I think we have seen this in different angles and this is the end of our session for. Let's see the key points of a session. We said management principles are those philosophies or ideologies which were laid down by management founders like Henry Fire. Then we said 14 management principles are useful for pharmaceutical services as they guide managers at those levels to apply them according to address pharmaceutical services. But also we said the principles show level of hierarchy at pharmaceutical unit similar to other organization level. Let's go to evaluation. These are the questions in which you may bring them into you and try to digest. I think you got the overview of what actually we covered so far. For example, what are the 14 management principles by Henry Fire? You should know them. The 14 management principles by Henry Fire. What are the advantages of management principle in pharmaceutical services? We have seen the advantages of management principles in pharmaceutical services. Each of the Fire's 14 management principles. Then, what is the relationship between principle management and motivation in pharmaceutical services? I'll try to brainstorm these questions to come into the point of getting what is right at the time, understanding the subject. Student, thank you for your time. God bless you. We're going to see into our next sessions. Thank you for your time. Stay blessed.